is no reasoning with these people. And this is a case study into how liberalism is incapable of dealing with fascism.
What's going on, you guys? Today we have Emma Vigeland and Sam Seder going after Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk and Gavin Newsom recently had a podcast. Emma Vigeland and Sam Seder go after them. Let's watch.
Podcast wherein he agreed 100% with him on trans issues, including agreeing with the framing of gender-affirming care for minors as chemical castration and mutilation of kids. Effing disgusting. Live for spite, F the right, and F anyone rolling over for them. It's funny you say that, Charlie Sheher, because we had planned on playing this video. We're gonna go through process of elimination for 2028 hopefuls. This is the game that we're playing here. I mean, Gavin Newsom, if he was at the top of your list, is someone on the left. I don't know what to tell you, but I can at the very least educate you now, because this was him on, I guess, the first episode ever of his podcast. He had Charlie Kirk on. And great get. I mean, wow. He's just, engaging in ideas,
That's his first guest? Oh,
his first guest on This Is Gavin Newsom, talking about how we should throw trans people under the bus.
Over and play dead?
Roll over. In essence, he said that. I think it was a strategic retreat, right? That we need to come back. Trump's starting to implode. His numbers are getting soft. And this was even before the tariff issues, et cetera. And then come back and strike when hot. And I immediately, no BS, thought about you, who's just 24/7 flooding the zone, back to my 13-year-old, owning this space, every day getting a convert, every day picking up 1, 2, 10,000 folks, continuing the momentum, coming out of this damn election. And then I'm thinking about, we're going to stand back and watch you run circles around us for 6 months, the next 2 or 3 years, waiting for the moment to finally strike. Struck me as not necessarily the best advice, and it's not a knock on Carville, who I have deep respect for. What's your thoughts?
Okay. So I don't have to. He's read about one thing in the last 40 years. It's economy stupid, and boy, he spent down that one line pretty amazingly. But yeah, look, I'll say I don't want to make this about Carville, but I hope you guys retreat.
You kind of like the
more
advice.
For us.
Like
there's no opposition. There's no activist spark. You guys are posting these cringe videos on social media.
What are the videos? What are the ones?
I don't know. This harmonious thing of 22 senators all saying the same thing.
Like that, yeah.
I didn't like it. Go ahead. Go do more of that.
What do you do? What do you do?
This is all from Gavin Newsom's podcast. He had one with Charlie Kirk about a week ago. And yeah, they discussed basically, I guess, the differences between ideologies. And this is them talking about the trans issues.
Dude, seriously, Charlie Kirk, give us some advice.
Get better ideas, Governor. For example, if you want to, you have an opportunity to run to the middle and seize this mantle. Obviously, you're talking to me of all people.
Yeah.
So you right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports, that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out and say no.
No, and I appreciate it.
But would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. It is an issue of fairness. So it's deeply unfair.
Would you speak out against this young man, A.B. Hernandez, who right now is going to win the state championship in the long jump? I can see you wrestling with it.
No, I'm not wrestling. I'm not wrestling with the fairness issue. I totally agree with you. By the way, as someone with 4 kids, I think
and 2 daughters, right?
2 daughters.
And I have a daughter too.
And a wife that went, God forbid, to Stanford and played on the junior national soccer team, and a guy who got into college only because I was left-handed and could throw a baseball a little bit or hit the ball for a little bit. So I revere sports, and so the issue of fairness is completely legit. And I saw that the last couple of years. Boy, did I saw how you guys were able to weaponize that issue at another level.
Not weaponize. That's
weaponize may be pejorative. You're right, but you were able to
shine a light on,
highlight it in a way that, frankly, there are not that many out. We're talking about, I think, NC2A, what, 510,000? No, but I just didn't realize.
It's 890 medals and trophies that we know of in the last 5 years. That's a lot.
So let me step back, say completely fair on the issue of fairness. I completely agree. So that's easy to call out, the unfairness of that. There's also a humility and a grace.
So there is a study that's being pushed around that there are 890 medals in 29 different sports. Some journalists, it was a UN Special Rapporteur report put together by Reem Aslalem, who is an anti-trans, basically TERF activist. She was the special rapporteur for the UN sexual orientation.
And this is something that the right does too. You know, Charlie Kirk, anyone involved on the right in debating, they will throw numbers, they will throw these random studies that really have nothing to do with the issue. It's a matter of context, and they will misquote the context on purpose to serve their own agenda.
And gender identity panel, essentially. But it's been highly criticized that she's an anti-trans activist and was a part of this regardless. So that's the study that they're citing. That study double counts things as well. But this is the exact kind of Democrat that we absolutely do not need in running in 2028. There have been analyses about the people of exit polls, and this is different than people who stayed home. I think the studies on the folks that stayed home show that the plurality opinion for Democratic partisans who didn't vote last election was that their motivation was because of Gaza. That's why they didn't show up. But for the people that did show up, trans issues was I think, ranked 22nd out of 22 in terms of what motivated their vote. The folks like Gavin Newsom and Democrats like him don't want to change Democratic politics to reorient itself less towards the professional managerial class and more towards the working class. And so what do? Throw trans people under the bus. It's the easiest thing to do. Throw already marginalized people under the bus. Democrats are doing the same thing with immigration. These folks don't have a documented status, so they're easy scapegoats, and they need to kind of live in fear of deportation so they don't advertise their plight in the same way that other groups may. So let's throw immigrants under the bus as well. Newsom really does sound like a guy who once was married to Kimberly Guilfoyle. And I don't say that in the good way. So I don't know how that could be interpreted in a good way. But like, let's get serious about 2028. There really are only 3 emerging options right now that look like they could be acceptable. It's Tim Walz, who looks like he wants to run again. J.B. Pritzker, too, although I still think we need to see more about what he would be offering. Walz is ahead of him advocating for single payer on a podcast recently. And AOC, who's still a long shot, but I think her prospects in the Democratic primary are a lot better than a lot of political scientists seem to indicate.
If you guys enjoyed this recap, make sure to like and subscribe for more.
She has such a broad base of support, and like any woman under 40 sees her as kind of a feminist icon in many ways if they're voting in a Democratic primary. So we shall see. But like the idea that this is his first conversation with Charlie Kirk, there is no reasoning with these people. And this is a case study into how liberalism is incapable of dealing with fascism. He cedes on the issue over the less than 10 NCAA athletes that are participating in sports who are trans. Now, on the high school level, that data is a little less clear, but we know that even states like Utah had passed bans on trans kids in sports, and they had either 0 or 1 kid that was trans and participating in sports in their state. So it's entirely about scapegoating. It's not about fairness. I mean, if it was about fairness, I don't know. It would not be necessarily.
I mean, that stuff can be dealt with by local
the bodies.
Like,
yes.
That's the thing is, like, look, generally speaking, it's overstated the degree to which there's a competitive advantage. That's my assessment of the science.
Yep.
And when there isn't, I think it's part of the bodies of the schools to figure out how fairness can be adjudicated there. I think it is absurd that it's very obvious why it's a national political story, because it's a way to demonize a minority of people.
Yeah, and the competitive advantage first of all, if you talk to a trans woman who takes hormones that comport with her gender identity, it basically flattens out all of the supposed competitive advantages that are discussed. That's much more based on hormone levels, and when you're undergoing treatment that includes hormones, it makes your body much more like the cisgender.
So there we have it, you guys. We have Emma Vigeland, calling out Gavin Newsom, calling out Charlie Kirk, saying, you guys might be ill-informed on some of the issues at hand. You guys may be just using your own personal experience and neglecting other people's viewpoints. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's another day in the progressive way.